Hey family, it's Tasha, Mom Bear Prepping. So welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel. Let's get it popping. So I know the last few days I have talked about some pretty heavy stuff, right? But it's heavy times, okay? There's a lot of stuff going on right now. It's hard to keep track. It's hard to not feel overwhelmed. But I want to bring you, kind of dial it back a little bit, Tasha. Bring it down, you know, some low level stuff. And let's just talk about a prep, okay, or an area to prep on that is super important, okay? I cannot stress the importance of preparing and having the things necessary that you're going to need to be able to take care of your feet, and that's to take care of your feet today and then in the future, okay? And be thinking about that in a futuristic way, right, mindset, so that you're prepared, okay? Now, I've been in the military going on 20 years now, and my feet are trashed, okay? My ankles are trashed, my feet are trashed, and I've spent many years pampering my feet and taking care of my feet and doing, you know, regiment type things, right? Regular things that I'm doing for my feet to keep them happy, okay? And to keep them together, and not, because let me tell you, you guys, when your feet are in a bad place, they're super sore, they're whatever the case may be, that goes through your whole entire body, and then the way you are feeling is indicative of your feet and how they are feeling, okay? So if your feet are in a bad way, they're always sore, it's hard to walk, you can't walk far without them hurting, whether you have some sort of work that you wear boots or wear shoes, or you're just on your feet, you might have a good pair of shoes, but you're on your feet all stinking day because of the nature of your job or what you do every day, then you're going to want to pay attention, because you need to take care of your feet, okay? So I'm going to walk you through just some basic supplies, some basic things that I personally use every single day that I think are very vital to have in your preps. And then we're going to talk about just, you know, my normal stuff, my takeaways, my tips, and just some stuff to do, okay? So let's talk about this first. So shoes. 100%, obviously, the shoes that you wear have a huge impact on how your feet are handled, okay? It's important that whatever you're doing there in the day, in my opinion, everybody should have a good pair of work boots, right? And a pair of really good, like, running athletic shoes, okay? You need shoes that are good for working, for hiking, for walking and running and doing, okay? And preferably waterproof, okay? So you're not having to switch out more shoes, okay? Now I get some of those shoes, like athletic shoes, it's harder, but there's a lot of work boots and hiking boots that you can get that are waterproof, okay? So try to do that, because probably the number one thing that in survival that you want to do with your feet is keep them dry. At all costs, keep your feet dry, okay? On top of shoes, so once you get the shoes, then let's talk about insoles. You want to get your insoles and have that extra padding in there, okay? Now, insoles are great because they take away any of that extra space that's in the shoe. I know some people like a little bit of space in the shoe, but you have to be very careful with that, because depending on what you're doing in the shoe, that could actually have an opposite effect on you as far as rubbing certain parts of your foot, okay? So to me, I've always liked snug, okay? Maybe snug is going to sound too tight, but just snug, right? It's holding, I can feel, I have contact basically on all parts of my feet, but not too tight to where now it's snug, but it's also snug and rubbing. Like, there's a very fine line of trying to find that perfect fit, and insoles is what's worked for me, finding the right insoles to make that magic happen, okay? Next thing is socks. So I cannot stress the importance of nice, dry socks, okay? And when it comes to socks, there's a ton of things. One, you want to have you can't have too many socks, you guys, okay? Cannot have too many socks. Everybody knows socks disappear in the dryer. Socks get holes super easy. I don't know about your kiddos, but kids here, oh my gosh. Like, I'll buy socks, and like literally within a couple months, they got holes, they're stained, they're like looking like they're tattered. I'm like, what is going on with these socks, right? Nothing else is looking like that except these stinking socks, okay? So socks just don't have a super long durable life, okay? If you have the money and you can invest in very heavy duty, very nice socks that will last the longest out of like the sock world, then awesome, cool. I would say down the road, you wouldn't just be throwing away socks because of a hole, because it might be a really good pair of socks and it might be you could just sew up a hole and still have a very nice pair of heavy duty socks, okay? So think about what you want to do. This has to do with your budget and what you can afford, but you want to have socks on socks on socks, okay? It doesn't, you have to have them, okay? Do your own research on where you're at and what you're going to do. Wool socks, if you need some different types of socks for different times of year, right? Some heavier ones. Sometimes it's beneficial to double up socks. I know a bunch of guys in the Navy military that work with me that do double socks every day, and that tends to work. Again, to me, that's kind of doing the same thing as far as an insole. It's creating a cushion, if you will, to help fill some of that space. Okay, so double socks, and getting socks, as far as socks are concerned, getting them like a half size bigger, because socks shrink. They say that when you wear them and the sweating and all that, that socks tend to shrink. So I found out that if you buy them just a half a size bigger for socks, it tends to be a little better. Sometimes I just go flat out for the guy socks just because they tend to fit a little bit better. I can't explain it, okay? So just, you're gonna figure it out, but I just want you to remember, and the thing to take away is that socks are vital. And no matter what your situation is later, socks are gonna be very important for keeping your feet dry. And if you find yourself in some sort of situation where you're having to walk a lot or work a lot, or you have a homestead later and you have a lot of chores and you're gardening and you're doing all this stuff, you're gonna need to have a good supply of socks, okay? Plus, you're gonna want a good supply of socks because if the grid goes down and laundry and all that, you're gonna want to have a lot of socks, okay? And socks are one of those preps that you want to have in all your different kits. So if you're new and you're trying to figure out your car kit, you're trying to figure out your bug out bag, you're trying to figure out some stuff, socks you kind of need to have in all those locations because they're super important, okay? So that's enough about socks. Okay, so let's just go into all the goodies that I like. So Gold Bond, right? So Gold Bond has a bunch of products. You don't have to, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not affiliated. You don't have to do Gold Bond. There's, you're going to go into the section where there's feet. There's all types of feet products. So I'm not trying to push anything on you, but I like the medicated powders, okay? You can do regular powders, like regular baby powders, foot powders. That's fine. I tend to like the medicated kind. And Gold Bond also has, we use the crap out of it, a spray version that you can spray in your boots. So we like that just because when we go on the field or we go on the deck or we go somewhere, we can spray a little bit of that in the boots, and it helps with odor and stuff like that, okay? So same type of idea, but the Gold Bond stuff, they have products that you can just put like straight in your boot, like just for odor, and then they have stuff that you could actually put right on your foot. It's the foot itself to help cool it down or medicate it, okay? So I'm a big fan of the sprays and the powders, okay? It doesn't have to be Gold Bond, but that's just what we happen to use. Again, you're gonna wanna have something in your preps that has to do with foot fungus, any kind of antifungal creams on the market. Doesn't matter what kind you get, but you wanna make sure that you have that stuff. Maybe you never had any kind of foot problems or any kind of stuff growing on your feet or anything like that, but for females, right? For anybody actually that goes to a nail salon place on a regular basis, when you go from somebody, that service of somebody taking care of your feet, clipping back your nails, clipping back hang nails, that's all hygiene and health. That stuff is needed, okay, for you to not get possibly infected or any kind of funguses or whatever. So for people like that are being, I'm not going to say pampered, okay? I go to the nail place, you guys. So I don't want to make it sound like that's something you don't do. No, I think it's very, very important. And if you go from that and taking care of them, and making sure somebody else is looking at them that's an expert and taking care of them, to not doing that, you might be surprised all of a sudden when your toenail starts turning yellow, or you start getting some kind of fungus, or you're not able to scrape off all the dead skin like the lady does down at the nail spot, okay? So be thinking about foot care and just have a couple options for different scenarios in your preps. Have your athlete's foot stuff. Have the fungus. It's like some stuff you can put on your nails if they start to get hardened and yellow, or they're starting to, you can tell they're not well when they start to yellow and they're trying to disconnect from your nail, right? And your toenail. So if that starts to happen, you want to have some stuff that you can medicate your toes and fingers with when you run into that issue, okay? So let's take a look. Some of my other favorites. Okay, so everyday care, okay? any kind of hot water contact is very good for your feet. So if you are on your feet all day and taking a hot shower or hot bath with your feet, that's a lot right there. Okay, your feet are going to feel phenomenal for just doing that. But let's just say we're in a situation, we're not taking luxurious baths, we're not doing all that stuff, but you want to have in your preps some sort of little foot bath. It does not have to be very big. You don't have to fill the water all the way up to the top of that. Just use that as your vessel to put a little bit of water. I'm talking even 2 inches of water in the bottom, just so that you can set the soles of your feet in there and maybe cover them a little bit with some water. Okay, just being able, the capacity to do that is going to be huge for your feet. To have the opportunity to soak your feet, put something like an Epsom salt, okay, does wonders in a bath. And you can do that with 2 inches of water in some sort of vessel for hardly any water, and it will make the difference of bringing your feet back. I mean, almost immediately will your feet start feeling better when they're sore and tired, and you've been walking or you've been doing something, okay, after a long day of work. Okay, that is a godsend. The other thing that I'm a big fan is the scrubs. So I think I got this one at Walmart, but all types of places have these, you guys, and it's just a body scrub, but I love them for my feet. So I use them specifically for my feet. If I do that bath, or if I'm even in just the shower, I'll just scrub my feet. Something as simple as that, keeping that fungus, keeping your feet very scrubbed and clean and dirt off them is super important, okay? Because the bottom of your feet are porous and they just will attach to everything, okay, the good and the bad. And so when you're scrubbing them and making sure that they're clean and you're getting the dirt out, that's super beneficial for your feet. There's a lot of people that are into oils and things like that, and they literally will rub them on the bottom of their feet because they know that that's a good entry point for your body and taking properties. Okay, so just something to think about. Okay, next thing I would say is, I just mentioned the nail place. I'm already at 12 minutes, you guys. I already mentioned the nail place, but having a very good, robust nail kit and foot care clipping kit. Okay, more than just clippers. You got the clippers, you got the hangnail cutter, you need a buffer, you need some files, you need to have that stuff. Okay, there's nothing worse than if you have a hangnail or something just so simple that you can fix with just a simple clipper set. Okay, so super important to have. Another thing that I personally have in my preps that I love is moleskin. Okay, I learned many years ago in the military when I did my first forced march, which is basically you put all the gear on and you just walk, and you think, oh, you're just walking, it's no big deal, but you're walking for miles and miles and miles, and it's a pretty good pace, and you do get, just from that one thing, a couple hours of doing that, big blisters, all types of stuff. Okay, and I remembered real quick, man, I had a blister almost immediately. We were walking fast, we had all this gear on us, and I slapped some moleskin on it, and I was able to finish. I mean, that is the difference, you guys. The moleskin, that should be part of your medical preps anyway, but you need to have that. That's like a must have, and I probably use it the most on like feet if I need it. Okay, I don't know that I've ever used moleskin for anything else in life except feet. Okay, all right, let me just see. And then the other thing is just lotions, you guys. So when you do your feet, take care of your feet, take a shower, take a bath, putting a good, nice, solid lotion on it, and then putting your dry socks on is amazing. Okay, the nail lady a long time ago as well, she told me the best thing for your feet is in the evenings, whenever you're done with your regiment, in the evenings, you just put some lotion on them and put white socks on. Okay, and then go to bed with that. And I don't know what it is about the white socks, but it really holds in the lotion. It's not super hot, because I guess maybe because they're white and not black, I don't know, but she just swore by it. So I've been doing that for years and years. Okay, so now let's talk about some takeaways real quick. Okay, so when we're thinking about our feet and preparedness and getting those supplies together, don't forget your unique family members, right? Your special needs, your elderly. Who's going to be with you? Is grandma going to be with you? What are her feet needs going to be? What are her foot needs now, right? But be thinking about what she needs in regards to foot care and all that good stuff. Same thing with special needs. Basically, I'm saying you're getting these preps for you. Don't forget about all the extra people in your house. That goes for kids, babies. When you're talking about kids and babies, I want you to do one thing for me. when you're talking about kids and babies, I want you to be thinking about, when you're getting supplies, think about future sizes. So it doesn't hurt to get shoes that are 2 sizes up, or getting socks, or getting any kind of foot stuff early, okay? But for future sizes, okay? You know, if they're kids and babies, you know, they're gonna grow into those bigger sizes, okay? Because you never know if we get to a situation where it's hard to get the next size of shoes or the next size. So shoes are super important. That's something that you should be prepping and be trying to always stay a size ahead when you're out buying them. When it's time for them to put on that next size, then go out and get the next size. And at a minimum, always have the next size on deck ready to go. And then the last thing is pets. Don't forget about your pets. So any kind of foot care for your pets, you know, yeah, all their soaps and stuff like that to keep their little paws clean, right? Any kind of clippers and things like that that you need to keep them clipped and sanitized. Think about walking. If you had to walk somewhere far, or you had to walk somewhere super cold, maybe you need some sort of booties or some sort of shoes that you would want to put on them to help them in that you know, different environment, as far as all of a sudden walking far and they're not used to that, or walking in a colder environment or a hotter environment, and being able to keep them on the same level as you as far as preparedness. Okay, so just think about that's all it is just thinking about the extra people and the extra things like pets and stuff in your family that make you unique. That make your family unique, so that you're covering down for everybody across the board when you're thinking about a certain prep, like we are today. We're talking about feet, okay? I would love to hear in the comments below, what's in your guys' preps? Like, what are you guys doing for your feet? I'm excited to hear the comments. I think some of you are probably gonna give me some herbal type stuff, which I'm super open to. So I would love to hear if any of you guys are smart on any kind of herbal stuff, or stuff that's good for feet, for making your feet feel good, or just anything that you've learned in the past that you're like, man, I got this and I love it, I have to have it, and I think you should have it in your preps as far as preparedness goes. Now, I know you could use this topic to cover down on a lot of like health areas, but for me personally, foot care I take very, very serious in this house, very serious. And I don't know, I just, you know, you might call it pampering, but I tell you, if you've ever had a really long day and your feet were just trashed and you were like, I don't think I could walk any further, or I don't know how I'm gonna get up tomorrow because my feet hurt so bad right now in the moment, some of this stuff, I promise you, will help you, and it will save the day so that you can get up the next day and do all the great, fabulous things that you need to do the next day as well. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care.